Good morning everyone, it's Tanya from Tanya Kraus Housemanship and you are joining me for episode 6 of the Millie Diaries. I'm out in the big paddock again and this morning the horses have not yet come over and joined me. So it may be a little bit difficult. I might be off shot for a second while I go to catch her. And what we're going to do this morning is expand on what we did yesterday. I'm going to brush her and pick out her feet, but I've actually asked Phil to join me this morning because he is going to be the one that will be doing her feet for me as soon as we feel like she's ready to get her feet picked up. And I just wanted to introduce obviously she's met Phil before. She can be pretty timid around other people and things like that. So I just wanted to have a couple of sessions where there was no requirement for her to let him do anything like picking up her feet or anything like that. I just wanted to introduce them and make it some, some quality nice time. So here she comes. She's deciding that maybe she'd like to come over. I'll just see if I can turn the camera for you so you can see, because we might actually have a morning here where she doesn't want to get caught. Oh no. Just a little slow to start. Good job. So I always organise my rein first. A little bit of that head turning still. It's okay. Okay. So here she is. I'm just going to straighten the camera up and pull her a little bit. Oh, shouldn't have moved it. It's very temperamental at the moment. We'll pull her a little bit off shot. There we go. And we'll see if Phil can come in and just say hello to her. He's just pausing because Rip's come up to him. You just can't quite see him yet. He's still off shot, but like I said at the start, if there's opportunity presenting itself to sort of help Rip get a little bit more familiar with us and things like that, then we're going to do that too. Now you can see him there. So I'm going to allow her to step back if she feels like she needs to step back. And she's curious about Phil. You can see that she's looking at him and she's interested, but she always has that little bit of, there we go. So I don't mind that. I don't mind that she comes to me for that little bit of reassurance. And I'm certainly going to give it to her and say it's all right. I think sometimes we forget how intimidating it might be for a horse to have two people, one person holding it and one person trying to work with it. It can be quite confrontational, and I guess our horses are pretty, they get pretty used to that pretty quick, depending on their upbringing and depending on how many sometimes when they're foals, there's lots of people visiting and lots of people getting in the paddock and things like that. But Millie certainly didn't have any of that, so she hasn't met too many strangers. You can see her looking away there. That's a pacifying action. She wants to keep smelling him, and that's perfectly fine. Like I said, Phil has, she's met Phil a couple of times before. But if we can make this a nice sort of non-requirement situation for her, and hopefully we're going to build to the point where picking up her feet and trimming them and things like that is not going to be too much of an issue. Big breath there, big lick and chew. So she's sort of starting to be okay with it a little bit. I might just ask you to hold that for me while I go and get a brush. And what I find interesting, what I've noticed about these two horses in particular, and we've noticed it with other horses as they work in the round pen or whatever, or work in the arena together, generally when one of the horses may be a little bit out of their element or a little bit worried, I mean, she's not super crazy worried or anything like that, but she's certainly alert. We've found that the other horse, and this has happened with other horses as well, will sort of come up and really buddy up to her, and they sort of, you know, group up and get into that herd situation where they're sort of like, okay, we're together, it's all right. So you can see that Rip came around and sort of buddied up to her. And I think he's using her just as much as to comfort her as much as he's using her as a comfort. He's really curious about coming up and interacting, as you've seen on all the previous videos. But again, now that there's two people here, it's a little bit more confrontational, it's a little bit more requirement in that. So I'm just going to try and brush her while Phil's got the lead, just so she gets used to being sort of held by one person and worked with another. And I've chosen Phil to hold the lead and me to do the brushing, because you could see there that she wasn't, you know, she's not super happy about Phil coming up beside her or anything yet. So I think she's going to trust me to be beside her more and him to be sort of out there in front in a non-active role. You probably didn't hear that. She just did like a little burp thing. She's holding her breath. She's a little bit tense, but she always is on this side, and today's a little different. The extra person. So again, nice long strokes. I don't know whether she likes it or not. She probably doesn't know if she likes it or not, because she's still sort of tense and worried about it. So I'm just sensitizing her to it and getting multiple points of contact. As you can see, I try and have both hands on her, or my extra hand on her all the time. Good boy. And we'll just see if we can pick out her feet, and then we'll be done. So that's the first time I've used the hoof pick on those back feet since this time she's been in. As you remember, I've only been picking up the back feet to get her used to it. So I'm happy that we progressed today to using the hoof pick. Good. So she thought about that right front foot again. She's a little bit fussy on that right front foot, but she held it up there, so I'm happy enough. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm happy that she got to stand there with Phil holding her while I picked up her feet, so she can start to get used to that process. Obviously the roles are going to be reversed. So Phil, if you just want to step in there and give her a little rub and then take the halter off her, we'll quit the session for today. I think that's a really positive thing as well. As you saw, as he stepped in beside her, she was that little bit worried. I might have been blocking the shot there, but she sort of backed up. So what I like about this is that Phil's actually letting her go. So she's, you know, instead of being like, oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Then he lets her go and she goes, oh, you're letting me go. And as you can see there, she's happy to stand with him now. So really positive session, and we're getting closer to doing those feet, which I'm really excited about. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you in the Millie Diaries episode 7.